Right, I can see you, Erin. I can see you. You've appeared.
Okay, great. Can you actually see me? See me?
It's just I've got an avatar for you at the moment.
Okay. It says my microphone is not working
Oh, I
on
can see you
this.
now. I can see you
Oh, yeah.
now. Right, are we
I'll
all
just get
okay?
my
We're all good.
Okay, if I hang up, I'll just see if you'll be able to hear me because it said it might have a problem with my microphone.
Yep,
Okay,
yep, that's
I'll
all
hang
good,
up.
love.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Erin. Excellent.
Oh, okay, good.
I was sat here, and I said to my partner Steve, he said, I'm sat here all alone. Nobody wants to
Yeah,
talk to me.
I think there was another lady trying to join as well.
There was, and I invited her, but I'm not sure where she's, and I put in her Gmail, but I'm not sure where she went to, so.
Oh, okay.
But I guess it's like anything
Um,
new, it's going to be
I
interesting to
know.
start with, Erin. It's the first time I've done a group one. I practiced it with my other half for a whole week. I've been doing just tests and tests and tests.
Now, I'm just
So
trying to
ask
pause.
away, look.
Okay. Hang on, I've just lost where you are. Oh, where'd it go? I can't
You
see
can
you
also
now.
send me questions as well. There's like a live chat thing as well. And there's like a box. And where the Google is on your screen, there's like some punctuation marks. And there should be a heap of icons to the left of there. And you
Oh,
can
yep.
click on live chat there. So say if there's like a heap of people doing this in the future, which I hope there will be,
Yeah.
then it's going to be easy then for me to read questions and answer questions, whereas I won't be able to look at 50 people or whatever, how many it's going to be in the future.
Okay.
Karen's slightly ambitious about this, isn't she, Erin?
Hey.
There could be 50 people in the future, so I'm slightly ambitious about this, Erin.
No,
So.
you just got to get it working for a few people,
To
and then
get
the
it
word will
working.
spread.
I think it will do as well.
So my question is, look, we were on the brink of actually calling you for some help. We've got two children. The second one is 6 months old, Tom, and our first child was a dream baby. So he just slept all the time. And I think I was known to say to the doctor once that I thought my baby slept too much, and at that stage he told me to be quiet and not tell other mums that. The second one was a little bit different. So he's 6.5 months now, and since about 14 weeks, his sleep's not been great. So he was actually literally sleeping through the night at 8 weeks. So he would go down at between 6:30 and 7 and wouldn't wake until 6 the next morning. And so around 14 weeks, it just all went downhill. I just assumed it was a growth spurt, so started feeding him, and then that just continued and got to the point around, I think, 5.5 months where he would be waking nearly every hour. I was probably feeding
Wow, that's a lot of
2 to 3
waking, Erin.
Yeah, knowing it's not right, thinking that it would fix. He was going through developmental milestones throughout it, but other times I just knew he wasn't. The normal things, I'd doubt myself, thinking he's hungry, etc., etc.
Yes.
I now definitely know he's not hungry. We went on a holiday to Fiji. I just said, look, we'll just get through the holiday. We had some good nights, which would be still 2 wake-ups and a full feed at twice, and he's, still taking 3 solid meals a day, plus 4 to 5 feeds during the day as well, milk feeds.
Yeah.
When we got home, we just said,
really well. Is he high up on his centile charts, Erin, as well?
Yeah, he's just above the 50th percentile on weight.
Yeah.
So he's about over 8 kilos, and he's 6 months.
He's always been there. Yeah.
Yeah. So in Fiji, he would have a good night, which would be waking twice for a feed. A bad night would be up every hour. So when we got home, we said, no, we're going to get a bit tough on him and stop feeding him, which we'd tried about 3 or 4 weeks before that, and it just kind of didn't really take. He'd still be waking. We've got to the point where, like, if he cry, we let him cry a little bit. But once he gets hysterical, or if it's been usually over 10 minutes, we go in there and we settle him. We used to pick him up to settle him, and we've stopped that now. So we just pat and sing a song to him. That seems to be working a lot better now. But he still wakes at around 3 o'clock every morning. Sometimes he'll self-settle, Other times we have to go in. But
Okay.
probably once in the last 10 days he hasn't woken. But
Okay. That sounds
the rest of the
promising.
time he'll wake at 3 o'clock all the time, at 3 a.m.
Okay. And what usually happens at 3 a.m.? Does he have a dummy at all, Erin?
No, he doesn't. So he did have a dummy, and stupidly I said I just didn't like it, so I got rid of it around he was about 4 months, and I just said no, he just wanted it all the time, and
that's a good idea to get rid of it, because they can cause a lot of problems. So tell me what you do.
I just had a gut feel at 3 o'clock. So if he wakes up, we give him a chance to self-settle. Sometimes he does, and he goes back to sleep, but he was still awake at 5. And I was feeding him at 5 and putting him back down for more sleep. But then I just decided I just felt like that was sending mixed messages. I thought, well, unless I want to get him up for the day, I'm not going to feed him, because he also wouldn't take a full feed sometimes at 5 o'clock. So the last probably few days I haven't been feeding him, but he'll happily talk to himself for an hour in his cot until it's time to wake up around 6, which I can handle. I've
just got Steve escaping from the bedroom. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
You didn't see that.
So at 3 o'clock, if he doesn't self-settle, so if he gets hysterical or if it's been going on for 10 to 15 minutes, we'll go in, and I just usually fix him up because he's usually down the end of his cot all skew if. So I put him back. He's in a sleep bag with his arms out. I just put him under. He's got like a little summer blanket and tuck him back in and give him. He's got like a flat bear, which he's very attached to. So I give him and say, "Here's your Frankie. It's sleepy time now, Tom." And we pat him and we sing him "Row, row, row your boat." And usually, like the first time we stopped because we used to pick him up. The first time we went from picking up to patting, it took me 20 minutes to settle him. And
I can already see some of the things that are causing you problems, Erin. I can fix this over this Google Hangout for you.
Oh, okay, great. So the second time, like he went back to sleep for 15 minutes, I went back in another 20 minutes, patted, and then he went back to sleep till about 6 a.m. Last night was probably a bad night. It took me about I'm calling it the whinge because he's not hysterical, like it's an on and off whinge, and then he got hysterical after about 10 minutes, and I went in and I did the patting, and it took me about 7 minutes because I time it. He wasn't asleep, but I went back to bed, and he would either chat, he'd whinge, I'd think he's asleep, but then he'd talk again, and that went on for about another 20 minutes, and then he slept until about 6. So that was for an hour after that. Right, it's still like an hour of sleep he didn't get, and he was tired today because he lost a big chunk of sleep.
I can get him sleeping through for you really quickly, Erin, just by telling you something really simple. Okay. Now, you can tell by my accent I come from England. Okay. In England, when I was trained on sleep, we're trained in a very different way. So I used to do weekly visiting at home for an hour each week as a health visitor for free from the health service. All right, we didn't have sleep school. In England, we never used to rock babies to sleep or pat them or anything. And when I worked in Victoria, there wasn't much patting went on. And what happens in New South Wales? What did you tell me? It's the pat, pat, pat. It's the big undoing of sleep. You'll read it in every book. You'll hear it from every person. You'll hear it from sleep school. So this article came out in the Mail Online by a psychologist called Lynn Murray. And I read it, and I know Lynn Murray because I've done a degree in psychology, so I thought, right, this is gold, whatever Lynn puts out, because she's a complete legend. And she talked to him there about don't do something with the baby at the start of the sleep cycle if the baby can't recreate it itself. Okay? Because then your sleep will come undone. And she talked about rocking the baby to sleep, and I just put 2 and 2 together, and I thought patting, rocking, it's all in the same.
I mean that makes sense, but like you said, all the sleep schools, I've had friends go to Trazillion and all that, and they all pat.
I fix everything that sleep school can't fix, Erin, and I've worked it out. It's taken me 15 years to work this out, okay? So it hasn't happened overnight that I've worked it out. And I've been here 13 years, and I thought, why am I getting all these failures from sleep school and not the baby sleep people? What are these people teaching them? And it's because I've got a very analytical brain. I look at things very differently. And then I thought about the Wonder Weeks at 4 months. We all talk about this world of events, all right? And we all talk about the form of sleep regression. And it's not true. It's actually babies that are not sleep trained. So in England, we put babies down awake in the cot and let them self-settle. We never did sleep training in England. So over here in Australia, we have a treatment model of sleep. In England, we have a prevention model. So
Yeah.
the nurses in the clinics are not taught how to prevent your sleep problems. They're taught how to fix them, which is send you off to Tricillin or Caritani. And I got told that as a nurse myself working in the clinics. No, Karen, you can't fix the sleep problems. You have to send them off to sleep school, Karen. Just fax that form off, Karen. And I was like, I was just thinking, oh my goodness, this is just not right. It's so wrong. Which part of the reason why I set my own business up, because I just thought this has to change. And then I decided that I better write a sleep book, because more people need to know that this patting and rocking, etc., it's not helping, but the pat is the big undoer of sleep.
Okay.
Even if my competitions listen to this now, they can't write a sleep book as quickly as me and redo their sleep books. So I'm brave enough to be able to say it live online. Yeah. I am writing my sleep book at the moment. It'll be out in 4 weeks. And this will feature really heavily in there. And so you're probably thinking, right, what do I do if I can't pat? How do I fix this? Okay.
Yeah.
Then you need to do what's called a check-in routine, which is similar to what you've been doing. So you go to the room. So you listen to the cry. The cry tells you what to do. I do lots of cuddles when I'm sleep training, because I think it's really important if the baby's really crying, because we're not creating abandonment, we're not creating distress, and it's about cortisol. And if the cortisol's too high, then your baby's going to get very stressed and upset, and then sleep training will not work. So I found that if you kind of with sleep training, it actually works a lot better. So my methods are my own. I've created them myself. It is based in psychological theory. It's based in fact, Erin. Like I said, I read heaps of research because my degree in psychology, it's made me a different type of nurse. I'm probably more a psychologist than I am a nurse, really. And so when you listen to the cry, I want you to listen to how it sounds and whether it's going up or not. So when you first put them in the cot at the start of the night, wait 3 minutes. That 3 minutes is really vital. That 3 minutes, again, is based in research. There's research to say that if you wait 3 minutes, most babies will settle themselves or resettle themselves. Okay.
So do you mean wait 3 minutes?
Always wait 3 minutes before. No, go out the room. So put him in the cot. Okay, tuck him in, and walk out the room. So you say night night. What's his name? Erin? What's his name? Tom. So night night, Tom. Time to go to sleep now. So you tell him what it is and what you want him to do. Okay. And wait those 3 minutes, but you're waiting for 3 minutes of escalation, 3 minutes of continuous crying that's starting to get louder. So if you're hearing pauses, gaps, silences, then you just leave that. You don't start your counting. Okay? I know through doing overnight stays that 6 out of 7 times a baby will resettle within that 3 minutes. Okay? So doing this for 15 years, I know
Tom
this.
goes to sleep on his own at night when I put him down.
It's just the resettle. The same applies to the resettle.
Like on 9 times out of 10. Like I think if he's overtired or if it's been hectic getting him down, we just put him down. Yeah, he might be a bit upset.
I say hi to Annabelle. Annabelle's just joined me.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Annabelle. We're just chatting here a minute, Annabelle, about sleep. Is that okay if we carry on about sleep for the moment? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you, Annabelle. But you can hear what we're talking about. If you put your live chat on, it's on the left-hand side. Okay. There's like some icons on the left-hand side. If you're on a desktop and you can see there's like a little blue box. Okay. That you can send me a question in through that. Okay. So as we're chatting, if you want, because I can't hear you at all. I don't know why, but I can't. I'm just going to come back to Erin now. Okay. But you can send me a question. Sorry about that, Erin.
That's all right. Probably go get the husband. I would.
Taking between screens here. Right. So again, when you're resettling, so I know you haven't got a problem with self-settling. Okay. Yep. But with resettling, it's the 3-minute rule again. Okay. Really important.
Yep.
When I do an overnight stay with the family, and I apply that 3-minute rule, most of the time that baby will start to self-settle themselves and resettle themselves as the night goes on. And that is really important, because the more we go in, the more we do, the more we create learned helplessness.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense? Yep.
Yep.
So 3 minutes isn't enough to create abandonment or to create too much stress. But it's like saying to them, you need to go to sleep. The baby's thinking, why am I not being attended to straight away? And it's making them think, I need to do something. So then you wait your 3 minutes, he's still shouting his little head off, okay? You go into him, but you don't touch him. Particularly the baby 6 to 8 months of age. If you touch them, it's like saying, there's a bar of chocolate, but you can't eat it. Because they're going through separation anxiety and this internalisation of self.
Yeah, the first night I didn't pick him up, he went hysterical. You would think I did something to him.
Yeah, they do. I had a baby do this called Harry, and that's why I've changed my method. My method is based on all the babies I've met in these 15 years, okay?
Yeah.
So Harry, I went to tuck his blanket in, and he grabbed hold of my wrist, and he went mental. And he was going through this big separation anxiety, and I was like going, oh, I thought, I'll never do that again. I thought, and it's different when you pick a baby out the cot, because you're not, you are doing something with them, but just touching them or touching the blanket, it's like, they're saying, where's my comfort, where's whatever it is you're supposed to do to me. Whereas just going in, and I call it my mantra. This came from a client called Lou. It's where you go in the room, and again, you said the same thing. You say, night, night, Tom, time to go to sleep now. So you tell him what it is and what you want him to do. And then you walk straight back out without touching him, but you look at him out the corner of your eyes, you look at him past him, and then you go in at repeated intervals, but according to the cry. If the cry is very loud, then you go in a lot more. If it starts to plateau off, even though it's loud, then that's fine. If babies cry for an hour, as long as you tend to them, and when they're going completely mentally, you do pick them up and calm them down, this is not abandonment, okay?
Yeah.
The research out there, talks about attachment parenting, about being kind to babies, not creating abandonment. There's a book by Letha Salter called Tears and Tantrums. She talks about letting a baby vent, because if they vent, they're getting rid of stress, okay?
Yeah.
If you're stopping a baby from crying when you're changing something, they're keeping that stress inside. So think about crying differently. Think about it as we're doing something good for him. Yeah?
Yeah.
And I know it's awful listening to the cry, and that bit of my job I don't love. I do not love the crying. I don't love the parents' distress that the baby's crying. But it has to happen to sort it out. And I wish I could do sleep training without any crying. Even when I'm in the room with a baby holding his hand or her hand, they still cry at me, Erin.
Yeah.
And it might take an hour to start with. It might even take 2 hours. Remember, I get the babies at Fail Sleep School. Yeah. The longest it's ever taken me is 2 hours 45 minutes, which horrified me. It horrified the mum. But it Fail Sleep School. These babies are very tenacious, and they've got a lot of learned behaviour. But by a week, he was sleeping through. Now, once they learn to sleep through, but you do this every time he wakes up. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So no patting, no rocking. I don't even do shushing or white noise or anything. Now, when he's in a funny position at the bottom of the cot, I don't move them, because again, I've had sleep problems caused by parents solving problems for babies, and babies should be able to roll away from the cot. Yeah. So you've got to leave him, even if he looks really uncomfortable. As long as his arm or leg isn't completely stuck and he's completely wedged, then it's fine.
So what about
to
if his little comforter, so he's flat there, because last night I'd fallen out of his cot, so if I put, and now I'm like, great, I've created like a version of the dummy with the flat bear, but he really loves it.
I would take it away, Erin.
Really?
I know. Because you've got to think, he can't problem solve at 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay? Yeah. Now, I've just seen Annabelle asking me a question. 30 minutes. Right. I'll just tell Annabelle I'll be coming to her in a second. And she knows I'm coming to her. But the flat bear has to go. I'm afraid. I know. I sound like a very mean lady, don't I?
Well, I think it depends. I think Tom's just a very... one of those babies that get addicted to things. Like my first, he's got a little flat bear and he loves it, but he's never had issues.
See, sometimes we think about our needs, and sometimes we think, oh, I would love a bear, so then we give the baby a bear, or I would like this, so then, you know what I mean? Whereas to a baby, even their cot sheet or their bars and their cot can be a toy thing, and, I'm not being mean here, but this is just, it's fact, yeah? They've got to be able to find things they can find.
Yeah.
Can't find a toy, they can't find a dummy, you're in trouble, Erin.
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. So we've created lots of things to fix sleep problems that are just sticking plaster solutions rather than looking at the actual issue.
And so I do this technique until I'm happy for him to get up for the day. So if he woke at 5, I'd do the same thing.
Totally. Even if he wakes at 5:45, I do resettle babies. I get lots of babies that sleep till 7 or half 7, Erin. Wouldn't you like one of those? If your room is very dark.
My first will sleep till 7:45 some days. Amazing.
I get lots of babies that sleep till 7, half 7, but you've got to make your room really dark. UV light is a big problem in Australia. In England, it's regular for my sister's kids to be up at 7, half 7 because it's so dark in the north of England. So the darker your room is, the better. You can either put a blackout blind or you can put tinfoil on the window. You just wet your window down, put tinfoil on, and then dampen the tinfoil on the outside.
Yeah.
That'll help.
When do you wean them off that though? Like, is that sustainable to have it all the time? Like when?
Yeah, it is. It is, because they've got to know darkness for sleep. and it's not cruel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tin pile's good. Dark bedrooms are good. I've got a baby called Mariana down in Monterey, and she's my best sleeper. She sleeps till 7:30 every morning without fail. And ever since I met her, since she was 6 months of age, and she's now, I think she's 2.5. She slept through till 7:30 every morning. And her bedroom was the darkest I've ever seen in my life. I had to say to the mum, "Where's the cot? Where's the baby? Can you just show me?"
So when it's really dark, when you got to go in to resettle them, you keep
Yeah.
it dark. You don't turn on any lights, do you?
No. They know you're
Okay.
there. They know
So
you're
it's
there
3
by your voice.
a.m. Okay, so just to recap, it's 3 a.m. tonight. He wakes up, say, at 3 a.m. I
Yeah.
walk in the room and I say, it's nighttime, Tom, time to go to sleep. And then I walk away after that.
You do. You do. You stay in a very
crying.
small length of time. He'll shout as soon as you leave the room, Erin. When you pick him out the cot, that's when big learning happens, because you pick a baby up, you put them down, and they go, "Holy moly, my parent hasn't fed me, patted me, rocked me. What is going on?" And they really go, "Rah!" Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when big
So
learning
what happens if
happens.
he doesn't stop crying when I go in there and say, "Nighty night, Tom, it's time to sleep"?
You walk straight back out.
Okay. And just reset for another 3 minutes.
Yeah. If you think he's tired, all right, when you're tired, you're stressed. What do you do when you're stressed? You cry. You vent.
Yeah. And does it matter what the phrase is? If I forget what the phrase is, it's something around it's night time.
It's got to be something that fits with you. Okay.
Okay.
So on night 1, he's going to go mental because he's going to go, "I don't like this new change." Night 2, he's going to go, maybe that's okay. Night 3 or 4, they can escalate behaviours. This is based in behavioural psychology. This is what happens. If the sleep books had that written in them, more parents would fix things, I reckon, as well. So knowing on night 3 or 4, it gets worse before it gets better. And this is with any sleep intervention, any behaviour intervention, babies, toddlers, whatever. And that's when things get worse before they get better. And most parents go, "Oh, it's getting worse, it's not working," but it is. Because the babies recognise what's going on. By night 5, 6, 7, that's when you start to be going clover. Between 7 to 10 days, your baby should be sleeping through. Now, until your baby's sleeping through the night and there's no crying whatsoever, not even between sleep cycles, then your day sleeps will not happen perfectly. And that can take 2 to 3 weeks before day sleeps happen. And that's normal. All my parents get really frustrated by the day sleeps. They love the fact they get a sleep through really early, and some get a sleep through by night 2, 3 or 4. And then they go, "Karen, where's the day sleep? Why aren't they happening?"
Hour. Yeah. He sleeps on an hour to an hour and a half during the day. Is okay? Like as in each sleep?
He should be having an hour in the morning and then an hour and a half in the afternoon to 2 hours.
Yeah, that's about right. Sometimes he needs a little short one before bed, like around, it depends what time he woke up from his afternoon.
Never do a sleep after 4.
Yeah. Okay.
And then bedtime should be about 5:30, 6:00, 7:00. Anyway, I better come to Annabelle because she's probably
Am I allowed to listen in?
Going on. Yeah, of course you are.
Good.
Of course you are. Let's see what Annabelle's gone to. Sorry, Annabelle. Was that okay, Erin? Is that helpful?
No, that's very helpful. Thank you.
All right, Annabelle. Sorry about that. Was that helpful listening to some of that? I've still got no sound. No, Annabelle's getting very frustrated now.
What if I turn my sound off?
That might do it. Let's come back to Annabelle. No, I've put a volume back on. Maybe if I mute you, Erin. Let's hang on. Muted. Right, Annabelle. Have we got Annabelle? Oh. Yeah. Unmute now.
I can hang up if that's going to help.
Is that okay, Erin? I'm not sure what's
going on. Okay. I'll just hang up. Thanks for your help, Karen.
That's okay, love. Good luck with it all. All right.
Thank you. Okay, thanks.
Let me know how you get along. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I will let you know. It's got to convince the husband now. Okay, bye.
Excellent. All right, cheers, Erin. Bye-bye. All right, Annabelle, can we get you some sound? It's the next question. Don't know why I've not got you in sound. Technology, don't you just love it? Send me a question through. Right. Yeah, I muted you and then I took you off mute. You should be off mute now. You should be fine. Do you want to just send your question through on live chat, Erin and Annabelle? If you just send it through, you know the column is at the bottom where you can just key in your question. I know you've got a son who's 13 weeks old and he works at 5 to 5:15 regardless of when the last feed was, usually 3 or 4 a.m. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. Twice in the last week he slept till 6:15 without the 5 a.m. wake up. How do we get him to the 5 a.m. wake up? Okay. Now he's only 13 weeks old. So how many feeds is he having at night time? 1, 2, 2 to 3. Okay. That is still really normal. Now, I want you to look at your day sleeps first, Annabelle. Tell me about your day sleeps. Is he self-settling in the day? Does he sleep longer than 40 minutes in the day? I think you're going to have to type it in for me. Right, so in the day, he's not sleeping for longer than 45 minutes, is that correct? Okay, so his day sleep sounds really good, Annabelle. So it sounds like he's self-settling and resettling really well. So I'd be really happy with that. Right, that's okay. Tell me, when you self-settle him, do you put him down, awake in the cot and leave the room? Just answer yes or no. Okay. Is he in like a swaddle, a wrap? Okay. Does he have a dummy? Okay. Look at your dummy because sometimes dummies create issues. Now your 5 o'clock thing is really interesting because 5 o'clock is about when melatonin is at its lowest. Melatonin is at its lowest at around 5 a.m. So if you've got a baby who wakes around 5 a.m., it's really hard to get them back to sleep. And look at your darkness of your room. Heard about the tinfoil before in the dark room? So that's really important. The darker your room is, the more likely you are to get him past that hump in the night at 5 a.m. And early morning waking in Australia, all my clients have early morning waking because nobody has dark enough bedrooms. So if your bedroom isn't dark, and by dark I mean that you can't even see your hand in front of your face, then you need to look at darkening your bedroom. I think that would be a big fix. I never had early morning waking in England ever. So I come to Australia 13 years ago. I've got different problems here, but you know, it makes it interesting. As you might have heard, my sister's kids, they're in the north of England and they sleep till 7:30 every morning. She's never known what early morning waking is. So I think it's the UV, is my feeling. What do you think about that? Right, with the dummy, should we take it away altogether? I think your day sleeps are not too bad, so I'd be quite happy with them. But if you're having to resettle him, I would be tempted to, Annabelle. Taking away a dummy, it's only bad for the first day and for the first 12 hours. After that, dummies are really easy and they respond really quickly. I know this because I remove lots of dummies and I have lots of serious dummy addictions. I've got babies that wake up every 20 minutes at night time with dummies, and the parents are so sleep deprived. And when I've taken those dummies away, the babies have cried for a lot, most of the night in fact, and I've fed them and I've loved them and everything else. But the dummy's like your third arm, and once you take a dummy away, it does create a lot of upset for the baby because it's something that lives in their mouth. If it's not there, and we keep reinforcing it by putting it back in, that's where the problems with dummies come from. And often when you're going through the second bit of your sleep cycle, that's where the dummy will fall out because they're going through deeper sleep, and dummy falls out and then they wake up. So if it was me, I would take away your dummy, because you've got him in a sleeping bag, which is good. I'd look at teaching him how to roll over as well. If your development is sequential and they're doing what they should be doing developmentally, then that helps sleep too. And I've had babies that have come undone because they haven't been able to roll over. Now, I've got a video on YouTube on how to roll a baby over. I'm not sure if you've ever seen my videos, Annabelle, on there. You seen some of them? Yep. So I do a lot of that sort of stuff, and it really changes things. I had a baby the other week that was 8.5 months of age, couldn't roll over. Within an hour of me being there, the baby was rolling over sequentially. So just by practicing it every day, 4 to 6 times a day, I think you'll see a big change in development as well, because he should be starting to think about that around 13 weeks, between 13 and sort of like 15, 16 weeks. Yeah. So if you start it early, and then you'll be fine. Okay, sometimes no resettle, sometimes when patting is right. Patting, did you hear me talk about patting before? No? Okay, so I'm going to dispel a big myth here, because I trained in England. We didn't ever pat babies off to sleep. They never had any sleep problems. We used to work on prevention. In New South Wales, do you live in New South Wales? Yeah, you're in Australia? Yep. So New South Wales have got a treatment model of sleep. We look at treating the sleep problem and send you off to sleep school. We don't bother to teach you how to prevent it. So we all go, oh, whatever you want to do, just pat them off to sleep. Yeah, and everybody talks about patting over here. I worked in Victoria for 3 years. We never patted hardly. Come over here, how many sleep problems do I have? I got all these clients that failed sleep school, and I started to think to myself, thinking, what is going on? And then I started working it out. It's the pat. So that 4-month wonder weeks is the world of events. Events are patterns, are sequences. Yeah. So if you keep on patting past 4 months of age, yes, your sleep will come undone. Yeah. So the pat has to go. So when you put him off to sleep, just put him in the cot and then just walk straight out. Always wait 3 minutes and see what's going to happen. And then if he starts to get a bit shouty, just go back in and put your hands on him. So I've got my doll here, Albert. So I'll just put my hand there and there. Okay. So you're using a hands-on technique, but I don't pat. When they get shouty, I pick them up, calm them down, but I don't pat or rock with them. And then when they get a bit quieter, back down in the cot again, sit down on my chair, put my hands back on them again, and I keep on doing that for as long as it takes, whether it's 40 minutes. I don't do it much longer than that with a young baby. But I'm in the room with them. I'm not leaving the room. So there's no abandonment. There's no mean control crying or anything. It's really gentle stuff. And these babies will learn to self-settle really well, resettle really quickly. And a baby your baby's age, Annabelle, getting to him now, you've got very few learnt behaviours there. It'll be a lot easier than leaving till 6 months of age, a year of age. And for me, coming over here and having to do so much sleep training is a shock to my system to start with, because I wasn't used to it. I wasn't used to these babies crying so much. And then I thought about it. I thought, well, we've created such learnt behaviour over here. Whereas in England, I never saw this learnt behaviour, and so I didn't see crying with babies in sleep. So I think that's the conversation that I think Australia needs to have, really, Annabelle, but I will be having it in the future. So I'm writing a book. It's coming out in about maybe 1 to 2 months' time. I've got a great editor. I've got a lot of good mums around me that support what I do, and they know that what I'm saying is correct. And yeah, so you've got that information there now, so you can make a choice there with that, Annabelle, and hopefully that's helped you. I like sharing my secrets. I think they're good. It's good to share, isn't it? And I've helped my sister with both her kids. She has no sleep problems. She's lucky. I'm not sure that she thinks that, but anyway. Okay, so let's see what else you've written. At least 1 sleep during the day. That is long. Yes, he needs to have at least 1 long sleep a day. A long sleep, I think, is 1 to 2 hours. If you're getting that, you're doing really well. But look at mood as well. Mood is really important. If your baby's really, really cranky, then they're in deficit with their sleep. They should be able to get to each sleep and be really fairly happy. And I put babies down for sleep when they've got some late tired signs. I don't put them down too early. I think that's really important as well. That I might see 5 or 6 tired signs, and I like to see a little bit of shouting. Not too much shouting, but just a little bit of shouting. Because that says to me, put them down, and they go to sleep really quickly then, within 5 or 10 minutes. Whereas putting them down too early, then you're in strife. It's like that sweet spot. That makes sense? Yep. Okay. Wakes up smiling, resettling, wakes up grumpy. Right, he will wake up smiling because he's happy to see your face. You've got to try and resettle him for at least I'd say 15-20 minutes. I don't believe in torture. I think life's too short for torture for anybody, particularly for a baby. But I think if you don't do at least 15-20 minutes and you get them out of the cot straight away, that says to them that's all I need to have done. And babies are like us. They go, oh, that's a reward for my effort. Oh, thank you. And then he'll start to get grumpy as the time, cranky as the time goes on. And then he'll realise, oh, we need to add more. So just keep trying and keep trying. It might take you a week, 10 days before you get there, Annabelle. But it will happen. I've had a few mummies this week who have been very impatient because they wanted it to happen like yesterday, which we all do. And literally by 10 days, these babies have done it, and they are so happy today. And I actually said to one of them, this is a better win than the Melbourne Cup. And she agreed with me. So I think when you get that long sleep of an hour to 2 hours, oh my goodness, how good is that? And it'll happen. And tell me about it when it does. I'd like to know. Okay, so she's a wait time beat. Right, so a baby who's about 13 weeks of age, a wait time should be about an hour and a half. When he gets to about 2 months of age, it'll be about 2 hours, but go by tired signs rather than the clock. I think the sleep school again, and the other sleep books that are out there, I think they tend you to go too much by the clock and not by the baby. So look at what you're seeing, and like I said, I like to see about 5 or 6 tired signs. With a baby his age, he'll be doing a bit of yawning, maybe, he'll be doing a bit of jerky movement stuff and bits of whinging. If he gets to about 4 or 5 months of age, he might be starting to rub his eyes a little bit. Yeah. But it's about really observing him and seeing what's going on for him. You will know when they're tired as well, because when you put a baby in tummy time on the floor, they crack it. They don't tolerate any stress. Okay? So that's my litmus test. So if I'm not sure what our baby's doing or how they are with their tired signs when they're going home, I think, right, let's just do some tummy time, let's do some exercise and see what happens. And I know what where that baby is. Because when you're holding a baby, of course they're not going to be stressed. They're not going to tell you if they're tired or not. But put them on the floor, then you know. That makes sense? Yep. So whereabouts do you live, Annabelle? Do you live in Sydney? Yeah. Do you live anywhere near the middle of Sydney, or are you somewhere? Right. Yeah. I'll go to there. Definitely go to there. Yeah. So if you needed help, yeah, I do travel, and but I think you can sort this out. I think with information, I think most people can sort this out. I was talking to a girl yesterday in Canberra, and her baby was waking up every hour at night time. She's got that baby now sleeping and only woke up once last night. I just talked to her in my car on the way to going somewhere and fixed it just over the phone. So I can fix a lot of things just through this, through the phone, through Skype, lots of different ways. So not everybody needs me in their home. I think once you give them information, then you can do stuff, can't you? It's just knowing what to do. Yeah. Okay. Anything else you'd like to ask me, or has that answered all your stuff? You said you looked at my YouTube stuff as well. You know about my YouTube videos. You've had a look at those. Right. When should he look to drop one of the night feeds? Right. So when he's about 5 months of age, and he's gaining weight beautifully, then you can start to not feed between 7 p.m. and midnight. Okay. Just resettle. Okay. Like I said, as long as the weight's fine. I'd start him on food at 4 months of age. That's really important. Have you heard of the ASCIA guidelines, the allergy guidelines? Right, if you look on ASCIA, ASCIA, they're telling us now to put babies into food at 4 to 6 months of age and basically give them everything, apart from honey or chili. Even babies where there's a history of anaphylaxis in the family. Introduce eating food every 2 to 3 days, so do it carefully. But even eggs you can give before 6 months of age now. I've got a heap of information on my blog. I'm not sure if you've ever seen my blog, Annabelle, on there. Yeah. There's lots of stuff on there. It's all written by me. All the links are vetted by me. It's all current. And yeah, so basically just go for the food, really important. But if babies are hungry, if they're not fed to appetite, they're not going to sleep either. And around 6 to 8 months of age, if babies haven't started on food by 5 to 6 months, it's really hard then to get enough calories into them to help them with sleep and help with development. And then you're just behind the 8 ball with everything. So definitely start early. And then he'll find his window and what he likes. So that's really what I do, preemptively. I do a lot of sort of like health promotion and preemptive stuff. I work at a pharmacy in Bondi on a Wednesday as well, and people can see me there for free. So if you've got any friends who want to come down to Bondi, I know Manly's a bit of a way off, but there you go. But I'll probably be doing these things every Tuesday. I might even do them for free till February. Because I think it'll take people a while to get into technology and to get used to them. I think tonight's been interesting because I can't hear you, but I can see your questions. So it's like anything new. It's experimentation, and I'll get better at it, and hopefully it'll get easier. So I think you've been very brave to come on, so thank you, because I've sat here tonight thinking I'm all on my own, but nobody's going to come and talk to me. And then I had this cheeky cat of mine wanted to come in the bedroom. I'm thinking, oh no, this is just like how not to do things. But it's keeping it real, Annabelle. Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about? Is that all good? Yep. Thanks, that's great, Annabelle. Thank you for coming to join me. I feel very happy that 2 people have come to join me tonight. So it'll be really nice to meet you. Thank you. And hopefully, I think things will get sorted, Annabelle, with that information. But let me know how you get along. I'll be interested. But tell your friends about this, and follow me on Facebook, and I'll probably be doing a heap more of these because I think they're going to be fun. All right, see you soon, Annabelle. Bye-bye, love.